Okay. All right. I think this is a, a needed discussion. Especially when you're talking about finance and accountancy. Um, and also making your own currency. Considering that there's multiple currencies out there used by different communities. Um. Okay. Business economics, the stock market exchange, something that a lot of people fear, and everybody has every right to fear about it because you're dealing with money, which money is it's a concept, basically. um okay, I'm an IT guy, like 10 years experience into it, um ex-military and stuff, and I dealt more with the software, and well, let me change that. I've dealt with software more on the hardware side of the house, and then I got into the networking, and of course I got into the into the infrastructure side of the house, which was totally cool because I got to see how everything was put together, um, to be ran, uh, simulated first, then live. Uh, with the users actually, using the software and the hardware, and and then you get your tier of people with your troubleshooting, and etc. So where does all this comes into play when you talking about the stock market exchange? Okay, you're talking about for and for a small exchange to start small. You don't really need that much capital. I mean, if you're starting off as a small business, with less than, I'm going to put a figure, a range out there, but less than 25. I mean, basically just starting out, like an IPO, you know, all, I mean, if an investment group is created, all the small businesses need to do is contribute a percentage to the investment group, pay into the investment group so the investment group can take care of the hardware, the software, the maintenance, the starting and the maintenance of the stock market itself. You see what I'm saying? And these businesses, they pay the same amount every month. They pay the initial, and then there's a monthly cost to maintain the stock market exchange. Um, I've been doing like a lot of research from looking at the Mexico and looking at Nigerian stock market and looking at the Florida one. I've been fortunate enough to see the buildings of some stock market exchanges across the planet. Um, of course, be military, and then just doing my own, traveling and exploring. Excuse me. The one thing that I would like to cater, well, okay, the one thing that comes out to mind is a stock market that is geared towards the youth, meaning kind of going back towards the capital. If you don't have, like that tremendous amount of capital, then on paperwork, I mean, you can create a stock market exchange. I mean, it's pretty, it's pretty simple. Even though the intimidating factor is you gotta have millions of dollars. No, no, you don't. Because if your company, right, because there's nothing stating that your company has to have millions of dollars, you know, to form a C corporation. No, even though you will have to report all of the findings, and everything about your company. I mean, of course you have to play the game, you know, um, of having all your businesses out there in the public. So that way, of course, because you got outside investors, because you got two classes of stock, what I'm saying, or shared, so the one to the public and the one for the business, from the inside, correct me if I'm not mistaken. And you want to make sure that the public who is not within the company knows about what's going on. Like company A just uh just did a grand opening of their initial public offering, and they're offering shares of stock at the cost of a dime. Oh shoot, for a dime? Okay. And then, of course, you go on the company page and you tell them, your goals, this, that, and the third, your mission statement, the standard profile of a company, just like you would do your standard profile personally as a person. Um, and you just go like that, excuse me. You have your goals. Like let's say for instance, company A, out of the whole index, company A, uh, well, I ain't gonna say index, okay, out of the whole stock market, the list, company A, is a tech group, and they could be a news browser, a tech group, and their whole aim is to rival Blackbird. I'm just saying, you know, or not even rival Blackbird, but they want to cater towards more of the, their browser is geared towards uh the business and finance. So it's not geared towards everything out there to trap the information and data. No, it's only geared towards business and finance. Oh, excuse me, business and economics base. And everything, anything that is incorporated inside business and economics, to a certain degree. Okay. Then company B is uh, a holistic grocery store, and its mission is to provide organics and natural products to us, to multiple major cities within one state. That and also offers a delivery service. Ah, you see what I'm saying? And see their penny stock might start. I mean, it might start off at 6 pennies. So what I'm saying is that each one of these companies to have their own profile and have their own, you know have their own race. Basically that they're off to the races. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I would like to implement as far as software wise, starting with Excel, is a fixed point ratio. Excuse me, of a fixed point system where if you peak at a certain level, then you know like you're not penalized once you go to that next, because okay, if you peak into the next level, then you're not penalized. You're automatically, um there's certain rules uh that now you're in. It's kind of like classism. Um like you go into a different class, well, not different class of stock, per se. You going into a different level, a different class of a level, um within the whole measurement and and grading of the stock. There you go. Okay. And of course you got your risk, you got your low and your highs, your mids and everything. Let me see. The reason why there's a needed um African American market, it, I mean, it's just obvious. The money is just leaving. Banks are actually closing down. Um, wow. I mean, having a stock market, and putting those businesses on the stock market will provide a exponential of jobs and contracts to the unemployed. Without a doubt, hands down. So if you got people out there that are turning their eyes towards the stock market, young business. I mean, and I'm talking about like the '80s. I'm talking about the '80s babies. If some of the '70s want to get, if some of the '70s babies want to get into it, then I mean, by all means, no discrimination, nothing like that. I'm just saying, like it's marketed more towards the '80s babies, the '90s definitely, and then you get into 2000, and so on. You know what I'm saying? The '70s babies. I mean, yeah, it's just when you looking at the older generations, usually they're not trying to start out at a at a low turtle rate. You you see what I'm saying? Like they're not, even though some turtles are fast now, now don't get me wrong now, you got the Chinese turtle out there. It's pretty darn fast, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying though, I'm saying overall together, like we're talking about like each business, each C corporation business contributing, excuse me, contributing um $100 a month, to the investment group uh to keep like a one farm server, which you can handle the sand and you can handle the wind at the same time, and of course you got a you have a person that is watching the trades, or well the system, the software of the trades going back and forth. Then you have your hardware, your network person, your security person. You get into administrators basically. So of course, let's say for instance, there's like 100 businesses and they're paying $100 a month, right? Let's do the that's $10,000 a month, right? Okay, yeah. Excuse me. You could possibly pay. I mean, yeah, you could possibly pay 5 people to maintain, that stock market, and that stock market doesn't necessarily have to be in a big, humongous building. No, it can be like in a nice size building. Like I said, with a farm server in the back, nice cooling. You have your cabling, of course, and you have your nodes, and that building could be like an 800 square foot building. You know, I mean seriously, and that's it. Just for starting out small. Now, okay, now, okay, now, okay, now, once you start getting a little larger, now you're talking about like like a bigger, like it don't have to necessarily be stories tall. I mean, it could be stretch where you have cubicles, and you have the representatives of the companies that are there, your investors relations person, in those cubicles. You know what I mean? And you have your IT staff on standby for security and network purposes and software and hardware purposes. You see what I'm saying? So that way, if anything were to occur, then they could put out the fire. If there was any fire to occur, then they could put the fire out with the correct solution at the appropriate time. This idea is actually genius because because the risk involved in creating the stock market will be low when you starting off like this. Plus, you're crawling instead of just putting something up and dashing and running. You know what I mean? That's kind of scares a lot of investors and well, African American investors, businesses themselves away because there's still a fear out there with money. Oh, the money just gonna disappear, and and these people, they're gonna give me money, and then my company's gonna crash because I'm gonna take a risk and do some offshoring. Let's say for instance, going back towards that browser, okay, and they invest in more software. I mean, more of a language in it, and they invest in the social media side of the house, you know, and trying to promote it out there. And they invested in trying to make it mesh onto certain software. If I was that tech company, I would really invest in trying to mesh it with Linux, which is an open software type thing. So, but I'm just saying, so, the monies that they get from the public, of course, on a certificate, I mean, you're saying that you're gonna, I mean, as the prices rise or falls, you're saying that you're gonna give them a certain percentage of that money back, including your shares for the inside of your company. And see, and then a whole twist comes into play where you might have investors. I mean, excuse me, you already have investors, but let's say, for instance, you have investors from the inside. You know what I mean? And so now you're talking about, breaking them off a percentage, and then you got to report that back quarterly. Um, so it's a lot of accountability. That's why I said, accountancy. And finance, definitely. There's a lot of accountability involved, and you have to stay on top of that. And see, a lot of business, a lot of established businesses, they don't want to take that risk and the accountability for whatever reasons that they have. They don't really want to get into that part. You know, you know, they rather stay low key. That's um, their prerogative, and that's their steed, and they rather to stay in LLC, and they rather stay S corporation, which hey, S corporation, or LLC. I'm not hating on none of that, but when we talk about building an economy, and you're killing um the unemployment rate, which is been known to be linked to the abortion rate, crime, you know, and I mean, there's a lot of other factors behind a lot of stuff that is having people to do the things that they're doing, But see, but see, that's home, and that's where you have no business. But when you're on the outside and you're working in exchange for profit, you know, which is your net, then that's when I mean, like you said, you've just entered the world of business and economics. You know what I mean? The legal way. Okay. All right. So, and this right here gives independent companies, let's say for instance, independent music companies. It gives them, independent record labels. It gives them a chance to get onto the market. Okay. You have people. Okay. Let's say for instance, restaurants. It gives restaurants that chance to raise money. You feel what I'm saying? Um, and you don't need no underwriter or whatever. No, just convert your business into a C corporation and put it out there as an IPO, and let's get it kicking. And we put out our own newspaper. Hell, the newspaper can be Hannibal Barker Times or Hannibal Barker Messenger or whatever. You know, uh, Marcus Garvey, um, Exquisite. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, so and see, that's where news comes into play. You know what I'm saying? You create your own central intelligence agency, not for the negative, but for the good. You create your own positive propaganda because now you have your own um businesses and they're out there and they got their profile and everybody's happy. I mean, people with fashion, people with a fashion sense with business. This is how they get their money raised up, and then they get get it hustling, hustling and bustling. This is how it comes about. And when you're starting at a low level with a stock market change like this, I mean, it's beautiful. Now you can have different indexes or whatever. You know what I mean? I did my research and studying for quite a bit now. Like everything from Six Sigma to like I said, the IT side of the house, college itself, um, just enterprise solutions, human resource, um, and without going deep into anything else of the powers to be, this is a good way to combat the negativity and move on your way. Let's look at the Florida stock market, for example. They have currencies, right? Okay, so let's say for instance, you have an index and there's nothing but currencies on there. It's nothing but African currencies. Okay, well since you created a stock market, you could also technically at the same time come up with your own currency. You feel what I'm saying? Now if there was a smart person out there, they would have a company that would create nothing but currency and certain ancestors' names. You feel what I'm saying? Totally genius. And you have the plates to it, the whole nine. Alright? Then the people within certain neighborhoods and certain communities, certain cities that has businesses will have to be willing to switch currencies and fuel the economy. Take that currency. Like if you have um, Malcolm Shabazz on the on a $20 bill, and see that note, and see you have to have something back. You have to have a backing. You have to have a backing. You just can't give out of debt. See, the one thing I learned about finance and accounting is you don't want to repeat the past. You know what I'm saying? Because if people don't remember the past, they're gonna do what? They're gonna repeat it. So you want to have something to back that money. That people can be like, oh, okay, so I'm just getting another promissory note. I owe you. No, you're not getting another promissory note. Okay, this is where the whole ticker comes into play. All right, excuse me, not the ticker itself. I'm just saying like ticker as in metaphorically speaking. Okay, if you have a mind, excuse me, not a mind, a mind, MINE. If you have a mind, a stone mind, and this mind is profitable, you have to really say to yourself, would I be willing to create a cash currency and on the back of it, you know, a $20 Microsoft Malcolm Shabazz, or we could say Malcolm X. It really depends on, you know what I'm saying, or Hannibal Barker. Would you be willing to give 20 sapphire stones cut for a, for that 20, written on the back? Would you want? I mean, would you? I mean, could you? And so it goes back it goes back towards, like I said, the back end, and you creating your own reserve. Now, I came up with my own little system to complement the stock market exchange. It's called the options and reserve exchange, right? Where you have the option to redeem that money. If you want to redeem it, for stones in the reserve, or if you want to redeem it, say for instance, for cowrie shells, or you want to redeem it, let's say for instance, you sat down at the options and reserve exchange by appointment, and you had about 10,000. I'm gonna say Barker. You had 10,000 Barker notes, right? AKA notes. You had 10,000 Barker, and in it we had, we gave you options. We give you options where if you want to exchange that for an house, you can buy the house, or a timeshare, or stones, cowrie shells. You can exchange that for tons of spice. I can say tons of spice. Well, yeah, because 10,000 Barker. I mean, come on. Let's say, for instance, you want a seesaw. You wanted you wanted a ton of seesaw. Shoot, that's enough seesaw for the rest of your life. But see, you could take that seesaw and turn around and flip that seesaw in whatever currency. So let's say for instance there was somebody in your town and they had American dollars, and they had 10 grand of American dollars, and you know what I'm saying. So, and cause I ain't gonna say 10 grand, and they had $100, that Benjamin Franklin. So they wanted to take that $100 and they wanted to buy some of your seesaw. Well, now you have the option to be like, okay, well, if you buy with Barker, with Barca, BARCK, if you buy 100 Barca, you can get 55 pounds of seesaw. With the $100, you can only get 45 pounds. It kind of makes them, like, well, okay. So how do I get the Hannibal Barker or Barca? Well, you will have to pay. Well, you have to give me dollars in exchange. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like a 1-for-1 type thing. You know what I mean? Like give me $100 and I give you 100 Barker. And see, the thing to that is they may not be able to spend that 100 Barker or Barca out on the public, but if you have enough businesses surrounded within the community or communities, within a local area and even a regional area, now your currency got power. So therefore, when you have investors on the stock market and they see that currency, they gonna be like, oh darn, You know what I'm saying? Sure, yeah, I want to invest in this. Yeah, I want to invest in this currency because it's being held at so many businesses, and of course, you can see on the profile where the many businesses have this type of currency. You feel what I'm saying? And then they give you, and then you get the whole background. They like, wow, wow. So I can, okay. So now I have, okay. So now I have 100 Barca. Now I can buy the seesaw, which they could buy the currency itself at the options and reserve exchange. You know, because you will have the many different currencies that we will hold, that we will get from each country, including our own. You feel what I'm saying? But the merchant will be able, or the company or the business person, you know, will be able to exchange and give it, exchange the dollar, the $100, the Benjamin Franklin, for the 100 Hannibal Barca, excuse me. So now that customer can buy the seesaw or be like, you know what? No, I don't want to buy the seesaw. So they take it back, and and they look at the art of the currency, you know, and they're like, wow, you know, um, and they take it back to their peers, their family, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I got a 100 Hannibal Barca. I mean, what can I do with it? There'll be a fool to tear the currency up. You see what I'm saying? Because they can buy some fashion that they will never see on the public ever. See, this is where art and culture comes into play. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got Louis Vuitton. That's great. So let's say, for instance, there's a fashion designer, and he or she have their own design that the public can't never get access to. Never. The only way you'll be able to buy that product is with that certain currency. You see what I'm saying? This is where you secure, the culture of the currency. I mean, excuse me, the currency of the culture, and you secure the market, and you secure the people as an economy. When you have products and services that no other economy can provide. This is called preservation also from one other aspect. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you got inventions, when you start doing your inventions and stuff, you know, this is another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have your own economy and stuff, like you might as well go ahead and have your own stamps, your own postal system, your own patent system, because I mean, you're gearing towards that anyway. You know what I'm saying? See, the only difference between Florida stock market, the difference between their stock market and the rest, is that they're doing currency. If they were to add another index into that thing and swing it into products and stuff, oh man, it will be, it will blow it. I mean, okay, where they offer businesses, oh man, it it will blow up overnight. I mean, how many heard of San Jose? You know, I'm pretty sure you people heard of San Jose. Okay, or other Latino businesses out there. I mean, overnight. I mean, they will bust through. I mean, the liquor industry, excuse me, not liquor, but the alcohol industry itself will sky high rocket if they were to put their own businesses on their thing. Matter of fact, in Mexico, I know they're doing good in Mexico. You see what I'm saying? So, and see, they got the Mexico currency on the stock market right there in Florida. And also they got the Caribbean currency. So, So what I'm saying is that, you really can't lose. You know what I'm saying? Unless the economy itself, which is humans, decide that, you know what, we're not getting what we thought that we was gonna get out of it, which is false. Because once you start investing into these companies and you put out rules that from an investor point of view, this is where investor relations come out. You put out a rule where you know what I'm saying, you know where you excuse me, where you are not going to, I mean, you don't, well, okay, like it's more research to be done, obviously, but um, you know, where if you decided you want to sell at peak, you know, of a stock, and it done went from 10 cents, because the more, because the more that is being bought, you know, um, the more it's being bought per volume, you are increasing it. Once again, now the fixed point rate, that system that I have in mind. So let's say, for instance, there's like 1,000 shares bought automatically within the first hour. The fixed point ratio maybe from 10 cents. Once you hit 1,000 shares, you know what I'm saying? Automatically you go up to 15 cents a share. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people are like, well, where's the logic in that? Well, it's a real game. It's a real game because you are raising money. So it's not like you out there soliciting money. You know what I mean? It's like, do people question the casinos when they bring like their millions, once the whales come in there, the sharks, they come in there, do they question the casinos? No, they don't. They go in there, they're knowing that they're gonna lose or they're gonna gain. When they go in there and when they leave, they know they come up with something along with the other um amenities that go along with the casino. Except for with the stock market, you're talking about a straight profit and loss. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Companies can get penalized for doing the wrong ethical things. Investors, brokers, they can all get penalized doing the wrong things. Okay. All right. So getting back to that, 15 cents, going for 10 to 15 cents after 1,000 shares. Okay. Once that hit and it went at its peak for today, it's getting ready to close down at 4 o'clock. Matter of fact, it's at 3:55, 3:55, and so the software and the hardware has to be just as fast as somebody press, okay, I want 1,000 shares. It went up to 15 cents. I want 1,000 shares. Bam. And at 3:58, okay, the farm server, the processor, has to be able to process that many shares within the splickety second, including the software. So it has to be a mutual marriage to process that. Bam. And it gets back to you within a matter of seconds. And you got it in. Now the market stops at 20 cents. Let's say, because you don't went up another level, another 1,000 shares. I'm just saying, you don't went up to another level. Well, you don't put that company's price up to like another level at 20 cents. You see what I'm saying? So it keeps going up and it keeps going up, or it peaks. Now, Once tomorrow comes into play, all the rest of the stock markets out there in the world, they playing around, they're doing their thing, they're doing their thing in different time zones. Okay, so you wake up 8 o'clock in the morning. It's at its peak right there. People might have pre-orders or whatever. People have pre-orders, and as soon as 8 o'clock hits, you know what I'm saying, and you done seen the news for it, everything, the whole night at the end of, yesterday, and then you see the news before today. I mean, before it, before the stock market opens up, not the business itself, but the stock market, because the investor relations, they put out, oh, okay, so so this company right here, plans on doing this, that, and the third, because they done reported it, kind of like a reporter. Or or kind of like going to the Pentagon, you reporting stuff, and then they go back to CNN and all the rest of the news or whatever. You know, you know what I'm saying? Okay, imagine you don't work overnight, and they give a report to the captain, and and the captain comes in the morning, and they said, okay, all right, feed the news to the public. Bam. Okay, now you got your blogger guy. Your blogger guy, bam, puts it out, or your editor for that company puts it out, bam. Investor relations, they look at it like, okay, this is what we're gonna go with. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go with that. Going back towards that tech company, okay, we found a solution with Linux overnight, with Linux SUSE, and we're gonna offer a beta to the public, for the software, where it will only run on Linux. All right, and and the beta software can be found on this website, and it's going to be for 1 year. 1 year, you know, which makes sense, because you want to get the programmer all their analysis and and results, so that way they can perfect the product. So during that whole year, people pouring in money, whatever, this and the third. But I'm saying, but before that year, at that morning, since it left off at 20 cents, that report is put out before the stock market opens, has a great influence if people are going to sell or not. People could have put in orders to sell right then and there after the stock market or whatever, or before. It really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? There's stipulations and guidelines and rules to all that. So once that morning occurs, and let's say, for instance, investors, read this, and they say, oh, you're going to beta testing. That means that you're going to use our money, and it might go. You got some paranoid people out there like that. Then you have some, like, be like, oh, okay, well, never mind. Beta, I thought you can put out like a actual version of the software. Never mind. Let's take my money. I want to go and invest into this other stock market, or to this other stock, and put in my portfolio. Like I got a portfolio within this stock market right here, and I'm just gonna take it out of there and put it in here. Zap, and then you gotta wait 30 days or however long before you can get that money. Of course, you can be credited that money. You know what I'm saying? And then the money comes into play, via whatever rules and regulations, stipulations, and process 30 days later, or 60 days or 90 days, however. You know what I'm saying? But let's say, for instance, it drops down to 17 cents. Now, a lot of people probably just lost, right? Let's say, for instance, you bought 1,000 shares of that. Okay, so yeah, you lost. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see here. Because I like doing math in my head, but when you want to give people the math or whatever. So let's say, for instance, you paid into it 2,000 shares. All right, 1,000 shares at 10 cents. So let's multiply that times 10 cents, right? Okay, I'm on the calculator. Okay, so you bought 1,000 shares and you came up with $100. All right, great. So you use that same $100 and you reinvested it. Now that's not including any money that you have in there. I'm just saying. So you use that $100, and so you use that and you multiply that times 15 cents, since since the stock went up to 15 cents. All right, because the investors, they pushed it up, by the volumes of by the volumes they pushed it up. All right, based on the fixed point system. All right. Excuse me. Hold on a second. 100. So that's $100 times 15 cents. Right. Okay. Hold, hold on a second. Sometimes I have to, All right. So, okay. Excuse me. Not $100 times 15 cents. My bad. Excuse me. I'm like really tired. Okay. All right. So let's say, for instance, you want to buy. Oh yeah, that's right. That another 1,000 shares, but you bought it at you bought it at 15 cents, right? Okay. So so 1,000 shares, 1,000 shares times 15 cents equals $150. Well, you use your $100 that you profited off those first initial 1,000 shares. So now you're left with $50. Okay, I'm just saying, you may have like another $50 in your account. Just to put, like you put, you put like $50 in there. Okay, so great. So overall together, all right. Okay, so you made a total gross of $100, net share. I mean, off the first 1,000 shares. Then the next you made a gross of $150. Okay, all right. But you reinvested the money. You see what I'm saying? So, all right. So you had 150. You had $150 for 2,000 shares. So, like I said, it dropped down 3 cents, right? Okay. So now you had to do the math. 100 and okay. So yeah, 3 cents. So you would do, I'm gonna take you to the back route. So I'm gonna multiply this times 17. Oh, my bad. Excuse me. See, for 15 to what I said, 20 cents. Yeah. So yeah. So it dropped down by. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, hold on. Your shares went up from 10 cents to 15 cents, right? Right. Which means that, my bad, excuse me, like I said, I'm like hella tired. You know what I mean? Which means that, you will have to do the math on each time the stock increase, right? Per 1,000 shares, right? Okay. Okay, cool. Now, for that, now you do the math on that. Okay, I'm just saying, even though I know it's pretty easy how I could do it here, but for time's sake and stuff like that, yeah. So you would do the math on 1,000 shares increasing 1 cent each time until you hit uh 20 cents. All right. Okay. Then you would drop it down to drop it down by 3 cents, because like I said, in that morning time, some investors decided they, for whatever reason, could things happen, whatever reason, that they was going to sell some of their shares because they seen the peak, and they seen the news, and it's based on however they felt, you know um not necessarily seeing what they would see in the future. You know what I'm saying? So it dropped down. It makes sense. Okay, so that company will have to, pay them, you know, that amount. Now you see how we're dealing with pennies here. We're dealing with pennies, and you're marketing to obvious the public, which is trillions of people out there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Literally trillions of people. You know, so you have to take, as a small business, they have to take precaution to how much money that they will use. Plus on top of that, they have shares that's being sold as another class within their company. So so they're actually, like the prom is like a promissory note um to the employees too. Also, uh, it could be very risky. When you're talking about from that level, yeah, it could be mid risky. Actually, it can go all the way up to very high risky, because you're using some of the monies from the investors, and you are dependent on the trend of the market to save your rear behind. And also you dependent on the interest. You dependent on the service or the product that you can provide people. You know, you know what I'm saying? So, um, but then again, shoot, let's jump into the grocery side of the house. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I ain't gonna say grocery. Let's jump into a business that has a readily available product to offer, right? But you're going back towards fashion, you know. So, well, I ain't saying going back towards fashion, but you got fashion. You know, the three axioms, points, how you can call, to survival is food, water, shelter. Shelter. In this case, you doing shelter for your body, right? Now, the type of shelter for your body. Excuse me, I had to yarn. It can be luxury. It could be whatever um whatever type of branding, class of branding that they're aiming to, as far as marketing, I mean, marketing to target market, to those specific humans. So, let's say for instance, those products are getting sold. Let's say for instance, there's about 10 pieces of clothing item getting sold every day by a particular fashion designer in one store, right? And the average money per day is $400 off of 10 pieces of item, which you have to do the math on that. Uh, that's like $10 or something like that. I believe so. Yeah. No, no, that's $40 per item, if I'm correct. Yeah, yeah, that's $40 per item. A lot of people are like, well, dag, who's gonna buy $40 per item? I mean, you gotta think about the products out there, and the gender, whether it's male or female. Shoot, it could be a pocketbook. Females have been known by pocketbooks for more than $40 and also lesser than $40. Shoes. People have been, male or female, have been known to buy shoes for that amount, and greater than that amount, and lesser than that amount. Kids, uh, products, you know, hats, customized hats, blouses, jeans, sweaters, coats, windbreakers, sold as a set, not necessarily one item. So that set can be contributed as one item. Now you got to watch out for things like that too. Also, you know what I mean? Like it can be a set. A set can be counted as one item. Which, why would you want to do that? To your numbers, I have no idea. I would rather break the numbers up so people can be like, oh, okay, I mean, it's not telling a lie. It's just, showing the true math. Like, yeah, hey, yeah, I've been selling, if you got 5 items on there that, that are sets of like 3, well, you do the math. That's 15, that's 15 items. Okay, so now you went from 10 items to 15 items plus 5. That's 20 items you done sold. That looks good to the public. So why would you be a disservice to your own marketing, advertising, and also news? You see what I'm saying? That goes back to accountancy. You know what I mean? Because if you selling your product, and if you out there, and if you want people to buy your brand, you want to let them know, hey, my stuff is the bomb, and people are buying it by the dozens. You know what I mean? I mean, 20 is 4 short of 2 dozens. But if that's going on every day, 20 pieces a day, yeah. I mean, you do that times 7. 7 times 20, that's 140. That's a lot of dozens. That's 10. Uh, that's 11. No, yeah, yeah, that's 11 dozens. And then if you doing that constantly at a consistent rate every day per week, 11 times 4, that's 44. Um, uh, 44 times 12 is let's see, 88, 88, 40, 88, 44. So you got 8, 12, 8. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What I said, 44 times 12. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. So 88 and 44. So that'll be 400. No, that'll be 528 pieces of clothing you're selling every month. Now you do that times uh yeah, every month. So you do that times 12 months, 12 times 528 pieces of clothing, and then they do the math behind it as far as how much it costs. They're like, wow, this is affordable. So on your website, you could put on there for 5 stars, from from inexpensive to expensive. So you could put in the mid range. Well, as a matter of fact, you could put in there on the 2-star range based on the economy. Now you can get real detailed technical about this. You can look up the millage rate for each neighborhood. You feel what I'm saying? And you can tell them, hey, based on the economy, this right here, we're doing good by you. This is more than affordable. It is inexpensive. Plus, it's a luxury to us. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing $40 per pop. That's letting them know, like, hey, $40. I mean, yeah. I mean, if people are buying $40 a pop, I mean, for a lot of people, they're like, well, goddamn, excuse me, you know, um, you know, $40. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, people actually come in there like every day, $40, something like that. Like, dang, that says a lot about a brand. You willing to spend $40 by by almost by the by 20 pieces of article clothing every day. You know what I'm saying? That says a lot about your brand. That means that your brand is stable. People can afford it. On the average, people are able to afford it, to buy it. Then when you get into certain categories and breaking it up and reporting to the public, people are like, well, and then you start seeing people with the product, and then that's when the public start looking like, yo, who is that? Oh yeah, this is so and so company. What, for real? Like, we didn't know that exists. Yeah, they even have their own stock market. They own a stock market ticker symbol. What? We got a stock market exchange? Yeah, girl, we got a stock market exchange, and we got a ticker symbol. Girl, give me that website, and then you look up the ticker symbol, and then now this is where the conscious minded people have. This is where networking comes into play. If you have a browser that is only catered towards business and economics, you will want to make sure that these other businesses pulls up directly in your browser. You see what I'm saying? Automatically, you want to have that probably on your front page. And you want to have your business out there as a ticker symbol, right there at the bottom of the corner or top left hand corner, wherever you can, for it can be visible. You want to put in there the top 5 businesses, or the top 10, or the top 20, something. What's hot? This right here is going hot. You know what I'm saying? If you're smart, see, then people are gonna catch on to that browser, and they're gonna be like, yo, man, shoot, let me invest into this browser. Even though is using Linux, I mean, but still though, I mean, yo, let me invest into this browser, yo. Matter of fact, because this browser brought me information I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Then on that browser, you got other companies out there. They may have like their own little thing. Not necessarily Picasso or whatever, but they have their own thing out there. You feel me? So once that company comes up, then you see these products from these people. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, dang, like, we didn't even know that exists. The address come up, the site map, whatever it is. Then they go and see the company for themselves. They're like, yo, how can we invest in y'all? Because we need y'all in our city. Booyah! You see what I'm saying? You never know who is looking. You never know the investor. You see what I'm saying? So everything ties in together. That's what I'm saying. Everything from the fixed point system to the marketing and advertising, to your accountancy and your financial literacy, the handling capabilities, the reporting mechanisms, down to the newspaper. This is where the newspaper can really boom. Your paper boys and your paper girls. This is where they can boom. This is where people be like, yo, where's that newspaper? Where is the freaking newspaper? They gonna want that newspaper. Paper, come get your paper. You stand out there on the corner. Imagine your little kids. You know what I'm saying? They have their own little routes. So now you deliver newspapers because you got businesses. Once you have businesses out there, businesses are put inside of a what? A paper. Newspaper. It's like it's a book. It's a short pictorial guideline and directory of businesses, books. Editors can come up. Then they can go hand in hand with the online version. You see what I'm saying? This is where you turn, blogs into money. Like seriously. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Because you can easily turn that blog, copy and paste, bam, to the newspaper company. Because they are the blogs and the editors. All that. All that. Restaurants. This is where restaurants benefit. And then don't let you have a delivery system, which I'm, already in there. As far as the food delivery, I'm in, done deal, finito. I'm in that. You know what I'm saying? But see, this is where you create your economy start, booming. It goes from a simmer to on fire, like a backdraft. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Like almost overnight. People investing. People like, yeah, people consciousness, the vibration, increase their consciousness, and wake them up like, yo, bump going to the lottery joint, ticket or whatever, in the convenience store. Bump that. Yo, let me call up their investor relation. Cause shoot, for the price I'm paying for a ticket, $1, $5, $10, I can invest in their money and it's gonna amplify. You darn right. It's gonna amplify. Then if you put enough money in there, the company will expand. It's called expansion. Coming to your town or to your city. Based on the demographics and the surveys that are done. You see what I'm saying? Then you get into your own credit bureaus. That's another side of the house, and whatnot. I was saying, this is where, business and economics come into play. Then you talk about return on investment. You talking about portfolios. You talking about, excuse me, this is where education comes into play. Excuse me. When you got the right education and the correct education, K through 12, game over. Because now you shifting the youth into these businesses. You know what I'm saying? You are pushing the youth in two positions. The unemployed, you know what I'm saying? They get to be employed. You have a restaurant that needs to expand into another area. You got delivery drivers. Come on. You talking about, it's gonna start off with tens and it's gonna go up to hundreds. Then it's gonna go up to thousands. And it's just that one drop. All it takes is one drop. That ripple. Bam. And it's done. It doesn't take a big stock market exchange. At options and reserve exchange, it don't take it. It don't take a big. But what it takes for that though is to make sure you back the currency that you're gonna cut to the public, and make sure that that currency plays on the positive aspect of culture on the people. You don't want nothing negative. You don't want to hook the people on something, making them be slaves or something. No, you don't. You want to rid that, and you want to give them their honor, their pride back. You feel what I'm saying? If they have that currency note in their hands, you want to make sure that they can redeem it for something, not a debt. Like I said, that's why mines are great. MINES are great. Just one mine. If you would have an emerald mine, You know, if there was an investment group out there, the youth that was smart enough to invest into a emerald, a sapphire mine, or something that you could produce multiple products out of. Oh, okay. Let's say for instance, tiger's eye, tiger's eye, tiger's eye. This is where the female benefits off of it greatly. You know, including um the household, like everything. Tiger's eye. If you had tiger's eye to back the currency, you can get you a tiger's eye stone tub car. This is where your carvers and your carpentry people gets into carpenters get into play. Beautiful women. You know, can you imagine women wearing tiger's eye? The spirituality of it, whether you want to know or believe it or not, it does help. Trust me. So, you got tiger's eye. You got tiger's eye in your ears. Tiger's eye in your fingers. You feel me? Tiger's eye across, and then you got watches made out of tiger's eye. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring your Benjamin Bannekers back. You know what I'm saying? And make watches. You know what I mean? With with a tiger's eye dial. Or just, like the what it's called, like the outside part of it that encompass the gears, where the metal part would be, and then you hook it up to the, you latch it. Let's say for instance, you latch it up to some hemp, jute. As a matter of fact, not even jute. You do tiger's eye. You do tiger's eye, and you make it where it's like tiger's eye, sectional, excuse me, sectional watch. You see what I'm saying? Like you getting into like a whole nother realm, of business and economics. Like you pushing it. Okay, like imagine if you make a tiger's eye grandfather clock. I mean, you're on a whole nother level. People ain't never seen nothing like that before. If somebody see a tiger's eye grandfather clock, they're gonna be like, you're gonna have people who didn't give a crap about you and your lineages, like as if they haven't already did it before in the first place, taking people's stools and stuff, and putting it in museums and stuff. But I'm saying though, they're gonna be wanting to get that currency, and you're gonna tell them, no, 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 I don't want your American currency. No, 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 no. I don't want your peso. No, 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 no. I don't want your rupee. You feel what I'm saying? No, I don't want your dollar. You tell them, I want you, the barker. And the only way for you to get those products is if you gotta work in one of the companies. You know what I mean? Or you gotta exchange the money, which technically it goes back to you not wanting the money, but you are exchanging it. So, say for instance, right? Say for instance, you choose to give them. Let's say for instance, the only way they can buy that grandfather clock is if they go to the options and reserve exchange. They can't even, you can't even buy it. No matter amount of money, you can't. It ain't worth nothing. Right. Okay. So you exchange your money at the, they tell you to go to the option and reserve exchange, or you call, or you phone call up. However, you phone call or send a request by email, whatever, and a courier sends you the money. You know what I'm saying? Now you're able to buy that grandfather clock. You know what I'm saying? You know, a courier from within the African American, stock market exchange. That business. What I'm saying. You want to keep it in. All right. Okay. So, all right. Let's say, for instance, you go that route. Okay. So now you don't exchange however much amount of money from your society to get the currency. So let's say, for instance, you wanted 1,000. No, you wanted 5,000 Barca, right? And you had to pay 5,100. No, you had to pay $5,800 to get the 5,000 Hannibal Barca, all because you wanted that product. You wanted that product. You want it so freaking bad. You know what I'm saying? Because your culture has value. You see what I'm saying? I see people slipping. Like they be selling their souls out here. For some of their products and stuff. Some of their services. You know what I mean? Without doing the proper thing and bringing up a stock market or preserving yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't just. Yeah, I mean, but then again, everybody's mindset is not the same vibration. It's not the same. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta really excuse them. On that note. So anyway, you know what I'm saying? Um, Now let's say, for instance, scenario two, you exchange that. Let's say, for instance, let's say, for instance, that grandfather clock, costs $500. I'm just saying, of course, it's gonna cost more than that if it's Tiger Stone and it's done properly, and it has all the engravings and stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So, all right. So let's say, for instance, yeah, 500. Oh, no, excuse me, not $500. 500 Barca, and you tell them, well, the exchange rate today for your currency to Barker is for you to pay this, you will have to give me $523. They're like, what? That is just insane. Like, okay, that's fine then. But we have another product. And they look at you like, I hate you, blah, 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 all in their mind, blah, blah, blah. And they smile. You're like, you know what? You're absolutely right. We're going to give you $540. And we want that grandfather clock now. Wrapped, presented to us as a present, done nicely, no chips, no nothing. Give it to them. And you give them the change back, not in dollars. You give it to them in what? In Barker. So they look at it and they're like, dang. Now what am I going to spend this on? You got to come back towards one of the stores. You see what I'm saying? Or you can use and you can accumulate that currency, that Barker up to do what? To invest into the stock market. You see what I'm saying? Genius. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot more work to go into it. It really is. Excuse me. Especially for the software side, when it comes to the stock market exchange, yeah, it really does. And then each business, they have to, all the heads, they have to come down and sit down and agree, and then they have to come into a type of group, for that. Um, with that, you want to create a court. See, this is the one thing that's also missing too, is an African American court. You got colleges out there that has the 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 degrees of a lawyer. Well, what type of laws do you? I mean, what type of laws are you willing to adopt? You know what I'm saying? It depends on if your economy is sovereign, free. I mean, or you just dealing with. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it really depends on. You know what I'm saying? It depends on. Like that there is like another subject. To tell you the truth, I apologize for injecting that in there because you're dealing with territory and laws and this, that, and the third, which is another subject. Okay, all right. So for right now, this right here is basically on the introduction to an African American stock market using Excel, or there is a software company out there that's African American that uses, or not African American, but is indigenous, right? And that's mathematical. Let it be known, because basically it starts there, because the hardware is really no problem. I mean, there's hardware everywhere. You know what I mean? You know, um, like I said, you know, you gotta get in the right mindset, and you gotta want to see where your economy, will be headed. Do you want your economy to be nice and beautiful and lovely, and the schools are producing children that's coming out of, I'm not gonna say 12th grade. I had to say 12th grade, and I would say the 12th degree, something like that. You know what I mean? You know, um, I mean, because to have kids coming out at the age of 16 with pilot license and uh truck truck drivers, around the age 21, massage therapists at the age of 18, farmers at any age, farmers and gardeners, fashion designers at any age, um, passenger drivers at the age of 18, 17 really, what I'm saying, during the daytime, but well, I believe so. Writers, any age, excuse me, scientists, any age, mathematicians, any age, art, like designing, like carving wood ships, any age, because you can carve wood ships and put it in a museum and make money off of that. And then guess what? That museum can be a business. You feel what I'm saying? You know, library. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it goes on, because if the kids write books, then they can fill up, then they can make libraries per generation before they graduate. That should be a standard, that every child must write a book. Because we was doing this stuff a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, we weren't even children. We was freaking rulers and scholars and stuff like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But see, we knew thyself. You know what I'm saying? So, and see, the ancestors before us has inventions, right? All we need to do is take those inventions and improve on those inventions. Then in turn, pay back a percentage to the ancestors' families find out where they at, cut them a check. Lord knows the world love our music, so let's funk it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into the classical side. Look at all these instruments and all these able bodies. Put them to use. Let's heal some people. Get some concerts going. Let's get into duos, trios, quartets, a penta, or whatever, pentasex or something like that. Sextet, septet, octet. You know what I mean? Symphonies, philharmonic. Let's get into this stuff, man. That's our music that we did 100,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to get back in there, make some great music on that level. Who gives a crap about this hip hop stuff? It's done. You know what I mean? If hip hop want to be hip hop, then let it be hip hop. But you know what? It's time to bring the jazz back. It's time to bring the real soul music, which is your instrumental music. You know what I mean? Seriously. There will never be a Motown age ever again. Never. Never. So that just died. It has. I don't care what artists you have out there, it's dead. You know what I'm saying? Because they was the real of the real of the real of the real. You're not gonna hear no staple singles. Staple singers no more. It ain't happening. I'll take you there. No, you're not gonna hear none of that no more. It ain't happening no more. Those are collector's items right there. Those are items that people are willing to pay their paychecks for. Hey, Mr. Postman, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Ella Fitzgerald. If you ask me, she was the lady that created bebop and possibly hip hop. If you listen to how she does the syllables and this, that, and third, you'd be like, wait a minute. She was rhyming a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She was rhyming a long time ago. She was the Nate Dogg, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She was the Domino. She was. Straight up. She was the Montel Jordan. She was a long time ago. It wasn't a genre like that. It wasn't, people didn't think about it. And she was gangster with it. Matter of fact, Michael Jackson was the first gangster, if you ask me, besides James Brown. That brother was gangster. He let you know he was bad. And when he got on stage or on a video, he let you know, yeah, it is a thriller. And he held his regions, to let you know, EFU, a alphabet, a perfect three combination alphabet. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that, it's some bad people, and they left behind collector's items. And, the ancestors Tupac. Songs of his just keep popping up. Afeni Shakur, she gone. Sometimes, I don't know. Stupid. And then people hold on to your estate and you can't even, your family got no, whoo, that right there's a touchy subject right there. But see, that's what I'm saying though. When it comes down to business and stuff like that, African Americans have been known, even back in the day, they get their inventions stolen, their estate left behind. They don't know law. this, that, and the third, and then family, then there's family problems because of the money thing, then you got the outside, which is the public, the other people of African Americans, they sit here watching it, then they get put in fear because they're like, oh, that happened to them, then it might happen to me. Well, I ain't gonna do that then. And when they say they ain't gonna do that, it gets passed down to every generation. Meaning they ain't gonna do that. Meaning they ain't gonna do it. It's like an animal. You know what I mean? Have you ever trained an animal before? And then after about 3, 4, 5 months, the animal knows, well, I ain't gonna do that. And the animal surprise you, like, you like, dang. But that animal can turn on you at any point in time because it knows what not to do from one angle. So it knows it can do another thing. Have you ever seen a pit bull doing his thing? And you tell it not to do one thing, and everything's all good in front of you now. But when you turn your back and you go inside and you look at the pit bull, that pit bull is smarter than you think it is. That pit bull will open up doors. I've seen my own dog open up a door like it was